Hello and welcome back to Clarkenomics. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the big economic questions and the goals. So before we get into the questions and the goals, let's first talk about what an economy is. You might have heard the term economy kind of thrown around in the news or just in your reading, but the definition of an economy is not actually as complicated as you might think. So all it is it's some kind of system of allocating resources and products. And to, further break that down, we can talk about the word allocating. The word allocating means distributing. So to allocate something is to distribute it. So all we're dealing with with an economy is a system for allocating resources and products. If you remember from a previous video, we've also seen something kind of similar in the circular flow model, right? There were resources, there were products, and we use markets to allocate things in that type of setup. So this can look different in different parts of the world through different times in history. We can have traditional economies that base things off of, custom and how things have been done in the past. We can have different types of economies where it's a government that maybe makes these decisions for the people in a more authoritarian type country. Or we can see a country that is market-based, where there are firms that are not owned by the government that all compete with each other and try to develop better new ways to do things, as you can see in the picture to the right there with the robots in the production line. So an economy can look a lot of different ways, but no matter what type of economy we're dealing with, there are three big questions that every economy, traditional, command, market, have to answer. So the first question is what? Meaning, well, we've got some scarce available resources in our country, in our economy. What are we going to make with them? And we've again seen this in a previous video where we looked at something called a production possibilities frontier. In the production possibilities frontier, we boiled it down to an economy can produce, one set of goods or another set of goods, or, we kind of summarize it as guns or butter. Guns representing military goods, butter representing consumer goods. And so a country that decides to produce guns is allocating its precious resources over here at a point like A or B. They have, scarce resources and they've chosen to use those resources to produce guns. A different type of economy might use those resources to produce more consumer goods, what we would kind of just call butter, right? They might produce a point like C or D. So every economy has to decide what they're going to do with what they're given. The second question is once they know what they're going to make, they have to figure out how they're going to make it, right? Every economy has factors of production. They have land, they have labor, they have physical capital, human capital, and entrepreneurship. And there are, infinite ways to combine those things. And so this question asks, do we combine them in a traditional way like we always have? Even this, though it looks basic, is still a form of technology. Or, do we leave it up to businesses who are developing machines like John Deere? And are we giving farmers their own land to cultivate and letting them buy machines? There are so many ways to answer this question. Questions of efficiency of allocation, efficiency of production. There are so many ways that firms or just economies in general can produce things. And then the final question is once we've decided what we're going to make, once we've decided how we're going to produce things, is for whom? In other words, we produce the things, who's going to get them? And this is, a place where the answers look really, really vastly different to the average person. Again, you might not know how goods are produced in different economies. You might not even fully understand how goods are produced in your own economy. But you sure understand how we decide who gets what. So in our system, we have product markets, we have stores where people buy things, and we assign values to those things using numbers that we happen to call prices. And if you can't afford or you don't value something at the price that it is, then you don't get that thing. In other types of economies, people don't use money to buy things in the traditional sense. They might only have things given to them by the government. And so, in this picture, you see a lot of people waiting in line because the government has promised so much of something to people, but they have to wait a very long time for it. It's not very efficient. So again, the three questions are what to make, how to make it, and for whom to give it, or to, who should we give it to? And so no matter what type of economy you're dealing with, every economy has to answer those three questions. Thanks for watching.